Hi YouTube, this is Tara and welcome back to my channel. Okay, Simplicity Beverage Company, and this is called Basil Breeze Premium Basil Lemonade. Okay, and it has fresh basil, lemon, juice. So basil is has vitamin A, C, and minerals. Okay, and the minerals that it has in here strengthens your ligaments, tendons, connecting bone to bone and muscle to bone respectfully. Basil leaves are loaded with antioxidant, which helps the body fight off toxins. So I'm gonna have to get some more basil. Y'all, it's only 5 or 6 ingredients in here. This whole thing is 100 calories. And this whole thing is only one serving. And how many ounces? It's 16 4 ounces. Most 16 ounces are 2 servings. So you can drink the whole bottle if you wanted to. So the ingredients are filtered water, lemon juice, organic cane sugar. That's the added sugar. Fresh basil, Himalayan pink salt, not sea salt. It just says Himalayan pink salt, and tartaric acid. Those are just 6 ingredients, and it has no saturated fat, no trans fat, no cholesterol, 60 grams of sodium. Now the sodium is not good. The total carbohydrates is 27. That's 10% of the total carbohydrates that I guess you're supposed to have a day. No dietary fiber. Sugar is 26 grams, which includes 25 grams of added sugar, which is the sugar cane. Okay, and that's 50%. So no vitamin D. It's calcium, which is 50 milligrams. No iron, and potassium, 30 milligrams of potassium. So I looked this company up before, and I gotta find out who sells this in the store, because I really like that. It's nice, it's light, and it's refreshing. Okay, so let's talk about Queen Charlotte. Y'all, I watched Queen Charlotte yesterday, and I watched the whole thing. I binge watched it. So first, y'all tell me, hi YouTube, this is Tara. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Okay, so listen. Queen Charlotte. Now, until quite some time ago, I never knew that there was black people in England. Okay, this been years ago when I found out it was, but I was never taught that I know of in school. I was an adult when I learned that. Okay, and let me see what time it is. Okay, so the Queen of England married Charles. She was black, but I believe she was biracial, because her and her brother both was obviously black people. Her brother darker than her, but they was what we would call light-skinned black. Okay, she was mixed. They mixed. They looked mixed. They didn't look black. They looked mixed. And the brother was darker than her. He was more tan than she was. Okay, but he was still light. She was from Germany. Okay, she was from Germany, and she was already noble and royalty, of noble and royal blood from Germany. The brother sold her, which he married her off. Okay, which they probably gave him something of value. Okay, now what I haven't found out or discovered yet is, why did were they poor, were they broke? And he kept telling her, this is for the country. This is for the country. You do your civic duty. This is for the country. Right? Why did they marry King George off to somebody else who wasn't from England or London or wherever the... Why they go? And she said this to her brother. She said, just think, why would they come all the way here to find him a queen? Now, I don't know if the brother knew this or not. They came and they made the deal. She came into the house from somewhere, or she was in the house. She passed a room because she heard talking. And when she came to the room, they was talking, mumbling, they was talking what she could hear. But there was no closed captions or anything that I could read or hear or understand what they were saying. But she did, because they signed, and she saw her brother signing, and which I did not know that was her brother at the time. I thought it was her husband. But I knew it couldn't be, because this was called Queen Charlotte, and her name was Charlotte. Okay, but they don't call her Charlotte like that I know of in the... Yeah, maybe they do. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, this is spoiler alert. So her brother married her off. King George the third, right? Or was it the fourth, the third? He was crazy. He was crazy. And I think his father did that because the mother said his father, George II, was rough with him and her too. And she said, I had scars. Georgie had scars. She had no other children. She just had that one child that I could tell. But Queen Charlotte, who was mixed, who ended up marrying King George, they had 15 babies. And then the 15 babies grew up to become adults and had trouble having babies. And the King George, the fourth, okay, who was the heir to the throne, his wife died during childbirth. According to the show. Now, I have not researched it to find out if this was going on. His wife died during childbirth. And the baby died too. It was a little girl. And the queen was furious. So, when they came to her to let her know what was going on, and she said, what's this? You coming at this time of hour, whatever. And then the person stopped, the messenger stopped and looked, and I guess the look on their face, whatever, alarmed her. She said, it's the king dead? And she said, it's the king dead? And he said, no, your majesty, the king is not dead. And so basically she was saying, if he ain't dead, what you bothering me for? Don't come back until the king is dead. Because he had his court and she had her court, her people, okay? And so she said, well, if the king isn't dead, who is? And then when she asked that question, there was another look. Okay? There was another look. And so that's when she found out her daughter-in-law and her granddaughter had died. Now, her sons... most of her sons didn't marry. Some of her sons didn't marry. And the one that married, his wife and the baby died during childbirth. And then her daughters, I think she maybe had one daughter that was married. Her daughters didn't get married up until this point. They were not married. And they was grown. And they was way past the age of getting married. And then they was really way past the age of what they would consider childbearing age. It ain't like the brat loved Judy now, where the brat is carrying the baby at 48. And then if they wasn't married at 16, 17 years old, By the time you get 18, 19, 20, you old. You old and you can't get married and don't nobody want you. You're old maid. So anyway, y'all, it got good. It got good. And just start to see the decline of the king and how he has to keep up appearances and how he has to fake it till he make it. And then he had to go to parliament and give a speech to let everybody know everything was okay. Because at first they didn't even consummate their marriage. They didn't consummate their first, after the wedding, they did all the, fanfare and all this kind of stuff, right? The lights, bells, and whistles. Then he took her to another estate. And she said, Charles, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Because he had redone it, remodeled it and all that. And he said, I had your things moved here. And she said, he basically told her, this is where you're going to live. And then she was like, this is where we're going to live? And, he wanted her to go in, look, said, come meet your staff and all that. And then before they went in, eventually that's a back and forth. And she found out that she was going to live there. But he was going to live at Key. And he would be looking up at the stars, gazing at the stars and stuff like that. I know people who are stargazers, and it's some people on YouTube be looking up at the stars, the sun, and they be trying to say what they see in the moon, the stars, the clouds, and all this kind of stuff. Oh, that's not a cloud, that's a cloak ship, and all this all kind of, stuff or whatever. That's not good. You gotta stay grounded. You can't have your head all up in the clouds all the time. And y'all, I watched the whole thing. It is good. Now, is it good as Bridgerton? Yes and no, because some of the characters from Bridgerton are in the Queen Charlotte. So let me tell y'all, the black lady that was in Bridgerton, that was always consulting and consoling people, and she and Queen Charlotte became best friends. And they haven't gotten to this part yet, but at some point in time, she betrayed Queen Charlotte, and she betrayed Queen Charlotte by giving information to Queen Charlotte's stepmother, because the last episode, Queen Charlotte kind of alluded to it. So she had went to her and she said, you're the only friend I have, because the king was losing it. And at some point in time, he was at Key, which was his estate, and he was getting some crazy non-traditional therapy, psychotherapy, and all this kind of stuff. And so the doctor would call him boy. And I'm like, why would you? And told him, I will break you. And I'm like, why? Why would you call him boy and try to break him when obviously he's already broken? But he wanted to be in control, not just break him to build him back up. He wanted to break him and break King George down so that he can control. Now, they didn't say that in the series, but I'm assuming and interpreting that's what it is and what it was. That's why he did it. I mean, he was putting that man in ice water. He was putting leeches on him. He was burning him and all kinds of stuff. And see, finally they went and she got pregnant, and she found out while he was away at Key, his estate, receiving medical treatment, which was supposed to be therapy, but it was torture. Okay, and he would even say torture, whatever, right? And so spoiler alert. When I tell you the I forget her name, Agatha. That was the black lady name in Bridgerton, she would help train people and she would counsel people and things like that. Her and her husband, okay, they was given the title. Her husband was given the title as Lord, or was it Duke? It don't matter. He was given a title. Everybody that was part of TON, ton, which was people of color, was given a title of Lord or Duke or something. This is the thing they kept saying. And if you watch and you understand, you know, tell me what this means and where to go find out. They kept saying, the great experiment. They kept saying, the great experiment. This girl came over with her own riches and jewels and beaded gowns, and they said no. They told her no, you can't wear that wedding dress. You got to wear one befitting for our family. But her wedding gown, her wedding dress was better. They were more delicate because she was saying that if I move too much, the lace will rip and tear from the ruffling and moving of the stones, the jewels. That's how delicate it was. And that her corset was made out of, I think, whalebone. And whalebone is very delicate. So you cannot move too much because you would break it. And if you break it, it may stab or stick you. You know, whatever. Yeah, I'm like, this what y'all going through to get a man? But the only thing I do think is good that they watch who they bring into the royal bloodline, and we don't watch who we bring into our bloodline. They watch who they bring into the bloodline, because just because you got royal blood don't mean you're gonna be all that. Because King George was crazy, and it was because of how he was treated as a child and his mother. Child, he would be looking up at that stars, talking about Venus, my Venus, you come for me. He went out there and took all his clothes off in the garden, butt naked, screaming up at the star, talking about Venus. So Queen Charlotte had to go out there and get him. And she said, George. She said, George, come back. She said, it's me. Charlotte, it's me. But I'm still trying to figure out why they wear all them wigs. What they need with all them wigs for? Because sometimes she would wear her natural hair fro, wear it out with jewels and stuff on it. I'm like, what she doing with all that wigs and stuff? Anyway, even the men wore wigs, some of them. But anyway, the sad part about it is, if you had 10 children, 5 boys, 5 girls, and they was royal blood, and all 5 of your sons were ugly and weird and perverted and ratchet, then this the thing. Would you want to be married off to them just because they're royal? Thanks for watching. Bye.